Okay guys, welcome to episode number 1 of Sharon and Julia's Matt's album review. Today we've got the legendary Forklift Assassins. Let's go.
G'day, mate.
How are you, big fella?
I'm good, mate. How are you doing?
Good. Good. Hey, did you go to Thrashville, did you?
Where?
Did you go up to Thrashville?
No, I didn't. Hey, is that new? Your new logo?
Yeah. Do you like it?
It's fucking fancy, mate.
Oh. Yeah. No, it's the things are falling into place. It's been great.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, you're a champ. Thanks, brother.
No worries, man. To start off, Weed Killer, man, the drum, like, they overpower everything else, but perfectly. Like,
Right. Yep.
Like that song couldn't be any better without that beat. You know.
Thank you, dude.
I enjoyed it, man.
Thank you, dude. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was Jason's idea. He said that he'd done a lot of work on the bass drum and the snare sound when we were recording it and mastering it, and it came out, you know, that really heavy sort of drum sound. And yeah, it came out really, really well. So we're quite happy with it. So yeah, it was great.
Excellent. So
I'm glad you liked it too.
Yeah, no, I loved it, man. It's terrific. So tell everyone about the single, like what's.
So we recorded this at Goat Sound probably January this year.
Wow.
It just took a little bit of time to get it out because we were playing a few gigs and stuff like that, and it just took a little bit of time. But yeah, it's all about. So you notice that I don't sing in this one. So it's Sanyan, the guitarist, is singing in this one.
Okay.
And it's kind of all about sort of, how do I describe it? Influences and you know, people sort of trying to tell people what's good and what's bad, and sort of not letting people think for themselves. And he just sort of did it in such a way that it wasn't too obvious, but you can still tell what's going on about it. You know what I mean? And then it's also so Sanyan basically wrote this one, and it came out maybe a little bit poppier. Do you know what I mean? Than what our stuff normally is, and especially with him singing it as well. And it tends to produce a bit of a different effect when we play it live. So generally, when we play our stuff live, you'll get the guys standing there, you know, heads going and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But when we do Weed Killer and Valerie, those two seem to get the girls up and dancing, and that's always a nice thing to see.
Yeah,
don't get that too much, and it's nice to feel like we're actually hitting a different audience, not just the hardcore blokes.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I won't lie to you, Matt. I was a little bit concerned in the early days, thinking that maybe it was a bit too poppy, but it goes down really well live. It seems to be going down pretty well as a single. So you know, you take it.
Yeah. So well, I know that like this is not you as yourself, but what's the difference in the creative process between this and all your other recordings that you've brought out?
Yeah. So all the previous ones were written generally by the band. So what would happen was someone would bring an idea in and we'd work it up together. And I would generally write the lyrics after. But this one, Sanyan kind of brought the whole thing in. He'd worked it up at home just on his own, and then he brought it in one day and said, what do you guys think? And we were like, yeah, that's really cool. And at the same time, he'd written the lyrics, and so that's why I sort of thought, well, maybe you can sing it. Just wanted to change it up, you know what I mean? Just wanted people to hear something different from the band, and so instead of my voice, have him singing it. And so that's how that sort of came about. So it was very, very different because it was written by him. It's his baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than being the product of the group. I mean, we added our little changes and little bits and pieces.
Of course.
But realistically, generally the thing was written by him. So, yeah, it was quite easy to pull it all together because by the time it came to us, the music was already pretty much done. And then it was a case of, well, what are we going to do for the lyrics? He goes, I've got an idea. Came back a couple of weeks later and they were great. Really, really well-structured, really intelligent.
Yes, they are.
Really thoughtful lyrics. And I thought, shit, this is really good. And when I tend to write stuff, I tend to write pretty obviously. I'm not one for using metaphors and things like that. I kind of say it as it is, whereas he tends to use more subtlety. And it was nice to get a little bit more subtlety. And I try to do that, but I'm not as good at that as what he is.
Yeah.
And so, so it was a very different process writing this song than the vast majority of the previous stuff. So, for example, Scotty was written off the back of lyrics that I'd originally had.
Okay.
I took the lyrics to the band and said, what do you guys think? And they came up with the music to the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas this one was him entirely. And then there's songs like Members, which all the music was written, and then I put the lyrics to the music. So, yeah.
Yeah. So was there a worry at the beginning when one of your band members have gone, look, I've got something happening, have a listen? Or
not at all? No, I love it, man. This band was never designed as I don't know, someone's gateway to fame and fortune. This is a group of three blokes all working together with a common cause. The common cause being playing music, doing it as well as we can, for as much as we can, for as long as we can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was always that way designed. It's fully democratic. So, we do vote on things if there's, and because there's three of us, it works perfectly because then there's always something gets through. You know what I mean? And people in the band just have to adapt and adjust and be flexible in these sorts of situations.
Yeah.
Because we're all chasing the same thing at the end of the day. We're all chasing we want to be the best we can be. And we may have slightly differing views on what we particularly like and what we particularly don't, but it all gets balanced out in the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so there was no issue with him coming in with stuff. He's come in with other stuff since then. There's a whole bunch of shit going on behind the scenes that we're working on. Just at the moment, finding a little bit difficult to actually find the time to work on some of the stuff. Just because he's just come back from a few weeks holiday, and so we're just sort of getting back into the swing of things. Had a few gigs, we've got a few more coming up. We're coming out your way soon as well.
Yeah,
so with all that sort of stuff happening, it's a little bit, and because both he and I also work full time, our time is somewhat limited, particularly to writing and stuff like that. But there was a shit ton of stuff that's coming out that we're working on behind the scenes.
Yeah. So is there an album in the mist?
There's enough for an album, but we probably won't do an album. Not just yet, just because, again, time constraints, and also cost constraints. So haven't really discussed about doing an album. Have been in talks of doing another EP. But at this stage, it's all still a little bit up in the air as to where we're going. We've got 2 songs that we do want to record for sure. And there's at least probably another 6 and, various stages of completion, none of which are ready to even be aired publicly yet, but there's definitely probably about at least a good 4 songs sitting there waiting to be worked on in the back end.
Oh,
so look, if we manage to get 10 songs up, then maybe we will do an album. I mean, I'd love to, but because I've never done an album, so that would be quite a cool thing. But we maybe we'll do it in a couple of batches or something like that. I'm not real sure. We haven't really sort of talked about it.
Yeah,
no,
definitely. Are you touring on the single?
Yeah, we're going to Tassie for a run of shows next weekend, and we are coming back to New South Wales, sort of mid to late November. But I'm hoping that we'll actually have another single out by that stage, so we'll tour on that single instead of this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we were up your way last, we did play this song live. It had just got into the set, and it went down quite well.
Excellent.
So it's not an unknown song, from a live perspective. And 2 of the songs that we're looking at possibly recording in the near future are already in the live set, and we've played them live a few times, and they go down pretty well. So we just need to get a few more of the other ones up, and then we'll be ready to go. And then we'll hopefully, so when we come out your way, hopefully we'll be touring on the next single. If not, then we'll be touring on this one.
Yeah. I'll definitely be there once you come to Wollongong for sure.
Yeah.
It's been hard. It's like with the kids and everything. And I'm not one of these people that anymore that get to see a band every week or something.
Yeah.
Like I've got to tell the missus, this one's booked. This one's booked. We're going to this.
It's mate, I can see the greys. We've both got the greys. It all gets a little bit harder when you're getting a little bit older, and it's and with kids and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's all good. You come when you can. Yeah.
Yep.
It's just like us, traveling around. We travel when we can. It doesn't happen, too frequently. I'd like it to happen more often, but at the same time, there's other constraints. There's, work constraints, family constraints. It's all got to be worked around.
Yeah.
So, but that's perfectly fine. That's perfect.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. No, I love you guys. The last single you sent me, unfortunately, I can't listen to it. I think it was this single.
Was that Valerie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you just seem to be getting more and more mature. I know your bassist is pretty much only newish.
He's been in the band for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But he's young. He's to be honest, I actually can't quite remember. I think he's about 25, 26 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you got myself and Sanyan. We're both 50. So he brings the youth and the excitement to it.
Yeah.
And I guess we bring a certain level of, dare I say it, maturity. And that may be why there's been a bit of growth in the songwriting. The other thing being that we've been doing this as this lineup for quite some time. And I find that when a lineup stays together and when you play with each other for a significant period of time, you start to develop almost psychic insights into one another. And so you almost know what the other person is going to do before they do it. and it really helps with playing together, and it really helps with songwriting, because you get a feel of what sorts of songs people write. So, for example, Sanyan writes quite melodic, and not necessarily on the popular end of the scale, but his stuff is highly melodic, because of what he likes. Whereas you get someone like Alex, when he writes something, it's very thrashy. The next single that we're looking at releasing was a song that was started by him, and you will hear the difference. It's much more of a thrash song, or maybe a sort of a crossover song. And then they got me, who I probably tend to like the heaviest music out of the three guys. Yeah. I'm kind of the only one that sort of listens to death and black metal and stuff like that. There's no element of that in Forklift. Nothing obvious or conscious, but that sort of shit still comes out of my writing stuff, the way I write. You know what I mean? You just kind of can't help it. It's what you're influenced by, but also the obvious influence being Motorhead and that whole sort of speed metal feel, which I absolutely love. So that's sort of where I'm coming from. So you can pick who's written what song, or at least who started what song. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you ever heard of the Kathleen Turner Overdrive?
Yeah, we're actually following each other on Facebook and stuff.
Well, they're actually doing the intro and the outro music for this band.
Really?
Review.
Oh, yeah. They're great. I did check them out. It took me a little while, I must admit, but I finally got around to checking them out at work one day. I was doing some shit job at work, and I was in the back room somewhere, and so I had the phone, chucked on some Spotify and chucked them on and took a listen. Fantastic band. They're
great.
You picked a good band to do your intros and outros.
Yeah, well, I it just came to me. I thought, like, I was looking at the list, and I think I sent you a message to see if you wanted to do it.
Oh, I don't remember getting that.
Yeah.
I would have said yes otherwise.
I asked the Owen Guns if they'd do it, and they said, "Oh, we're not going back into the studio for a while."
Yeah.
And oh, wait a sec. Yeah, Jeff, no, KTO are doing the intro and outro for the interview show, not the for the album review show, not the interview show. They're sending you the. Sorry, I'm just speaking to my producer.
Yeah.
They're sending you the intro and outro very soon. They've gone in the studio. But yeah,
that's great.
And I thought, no, Kathleen Turner Overdrive, because like when I interviewed them, I started getting into their stuff, and I really thought this is exactly what. I should have told you, Jeff. Yeah, this is exactly the what I really wanted for their, because I didn't want it to be the same as the Sharon and Drip with Matt.
Yeah,
I wanted something different. Yeah, I wanted to, separate the two.
Yeah.
And it was, I can't wait to hear it.
Well, you picked a good band to do it. You picked a good band to do it.
Like, they're fucking fantastic. I really love their shit. So what was the vibe like in the studio? What was?
Oh man, yeah. So we love recording. All three of us are very partial to it, and so when we got there, and because we've worked with Jason previously, and we know how he works, and we get along. All four of us get along really, really well. So we got in there, we got started, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was easy. It all fell into place really nicely. Everyone knew their parts, everyone knew what they were doing, because we tend to rehearse this stuff up pretty solidly before we get into it. And so we knew our parts. Jason obviously knows what he's fucking doing. And basically we got in there and we had a ball. it was, two days. So we did the 4 songs in 2 days. I had my niece come down on one of the days, and she's a bit of a budding photographer. So she took a bunch of photos of us when we had a bit of downtime.
You'll have to
that
send
was,
that to us for the interview.
yeah. Oh, sorry, you want me to send some to you?
Yeah, just so we can
All
put
right.
in the band review.
Yeah, all right, no problem. I'll sort that out for you.
Excellent.
Yeah, so she took some photos. We had a great time. She's never seen the inner workings of a studio. She's quite into the whole, going to gigs and seeing bands and stuff. She's got friends in bands around Melbourne and stuff like that. So it's great. She's 18 years old or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And she was really interested in what was going on, and she had a really good time. And because of that, we had a really good time, because, there's a certain level of excitement from someone that's never seen that end of music. And so, yeah, it went really well. It was very, very productive and very comfortable. Jason has this amazing ability to just make everybody really comfortable in his environment. Yeah. So it makes for a very easy recording session. And when look, problems arise, but in an environment like that, you're quite comfortable dealing with them and fixing them and sorting them out. So as opposed to if you're, high strung or really stressed, and then something happens, it just makes you more stressed, and you try to fix that, and you're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So obviously when you play live, you've got a regular fan base and everything. You've answered this already a bit, but with the fan base and everything, what feedback are you getting for the single? Like,
oh, it's been really positive, man. It was like I said to you, it was when we were talking about releasing it, was a little bit concerned because it was a little bit on the sort of poppier end.
Yeah.
And so I was a little bit worried that, maybe it's not really what our people would necessarily want to hear. But it goes down really well live, People are dancing, people are, screaming it out, having a good time. Just the general vibe is really, really positive, because like Valerie and Weed Killer are probably a little bit more upbeat than some of our other stuff.
Yeah.
And it comes out in the reactions of people, where people get really excited and jump around and have a dance. And, we've got other songs that people can mosh to. There's no problem there. But it's nice to also have these songs that probably not mosh songs, but are definitely a bit more danceable.
Yeah.
And so, it goes down really well. It's particularly live. It seems to do really, really well live, and people know it now. There's certain songs of ours that people seem to at least know that they exist and have heard them and enjoy them and are looking forward to hearing them. And so then when we play them, they get pretty excited. That's a fantastic feeling too.
Excellent. So you've been doing much touring anyway? Have you been playing much lately?
So we had July and August off. We played our last gig at the end of June, and we took 2 months off for a bit of a rest and some holidays, because we're pretty gigged out by that stage. We'd played a lot from the first half of the year.
Oh, definitely. I've been seeing the posts.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. But then right from the start of September, we knuckled into some more gigs. And then September is a very big month for us. October, there's quite a number of gigs. November is going to be massive, because we're coming out your way in November. We're also playing with in Melbourne with the Owen Guns, which I can't fucking wait for that, man. I mean, I'm just so excited about that. I've been excited about it.
Sean is amazing.
I met him at our gig at Diamond Dogs. When did we play? It was March or April. I met him, And just straight away, I just knew that he was a good guy. I knew that I liked him, right?
Yeah.
And since then, I've had a lot of interaction with him through Messenger and shit like that. And without fail, I feel like he's my brother. You know what I mean? I feel this I don't know, connection with the guy. So I'm just absolutely hanging to play with him, because it's just going to be an absolute ball breaker of a gig. It's going to be awesome. So I'm really excited about that. So
have you heard their new outing? Their pulling on the boots thing.
Yeah, man, I've got it. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
I'll tell you what happened last year. Before I even thought of starting this show, I was always posting 2 songs a day on the punk rocks side, and I ended up. I just one day I couldn't think of songs to post, so I posted the Romper Stomper soundtrack, Pulling on the Boots.
Yep.
And fuck me, did I get a lot of flack. Sean's there going, this is racist, blah, blah, blah. And I'm getting all this bad fucking info and everything. And then Sean and I spoke, and I said, look, man, I was just showing like Australia's culture and, you know, what's happening and what has happened. And then they ended up doing that, and it was like they said, yeah, fuck it now, Matt, we're going to do that song again. and we're going to do it our way. Yeah. But anyway, back to you guys. Like, plug the single. Give us a bit of.
So the single, it's called Weed Killer, and it's available. I mean, you can stream it anywhere, right? It's on all the streaming services. It's on YouTube. It's on Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere. Tidal, like all over the place. And you can also, it's on Bandcamp. So if you want to buy it, you can buy it. It's like $1. And it's, as I said, it's sort of a little more on the poppy end of what we do. It's 2.5 minutes of you know, fun, but there's a message behind it about, you know, this whole concept of influences and then them controlling what or telling you what you should and shouldn't like, or what you should and shouldn't do, or this sort of shit. And then, I mean, what are they doing? You know, I guess they're selling something. I don't really know, but it's kind of a dig at that. It's kind of a dig at conspiracy theories on Facebook and all this sort of shit, because this was written around the time of Trump and QAnon and all that. So there was a lot of talk about conspiracy theories and people following and buying into these conspiracy theories at a time when you know, we were in COVID and people were talking about there's conspiracy theories running around about the vaccinations and all this sort of stuff, and people were getting sucked into this sort of stuff, and we're like, you know, these are well, we would think reasonably thinking human beings. How are they buying into all this sort of shit? So this song sort of came out of that. And it goes down well on live. It's a lot of fun. It's short, you know, 2.5 minutes or thereabouts. So you know, don't take too much of your life away. And it's a lot of fun to play. It's my rest song because I don't have to sing it in it too much, so I get to have a little bit of a rest. It came together really quickly and relatively easily from a band perspective. I don't know about Sanyan while he was writing it in the back end if there was any difficulties, but from a band perspective, it came together really, really nicely. And from the get-go, I remember when he first brought it in and played it to us, we're like, fuck yeah, that's some good riffs. And then when he put the lyrics down to him, really nice lyrical melodies, we're like, fuck yeah, good melodies, man. This is good.
Right.
So
I've enjoyed it, and I'm sure all punters will.
Thank
To
you,
be
dude.
quite honest, I didn't even know that it wasn't you on vocals. Like,
Oh, right.
yeah, I didn't fucking hear because it was growly, the same as your vocals.
Yeah.
It actually stood with the assassins,
The rest of it. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
even though as you say, it was poppy, it did have that punk pop sound.
Yeah.
But I still didn't, and that's great. Give
Okay.
him a big high five for me because he done.
I will for sure, man. I will for sure.
Hey, thank you so much.
No, man. Thank you. It's been great to talk to you again, man.
If there's anything else you want to say, just
No, look, man. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you again.
always.
I look forward to seeing you face to face.
Yeah.
In the near future, having a beer with you, my friend.
We'll have
And I look forward to chatting to you once again, and hopefully maybe this time, next time when we have a chat, might get Samuel to come in as well, so you can have a chat with him as well.
Yeah.
It'll be nice. It'll be really good. Yeah, and good luck with the kids.
Yeah. Oh my God. Love you, guys. I'm blessed to have you on the show.
Thank you, my friend. Take care of yourself, Matt. We'll see you again soon, all right?
Yep.
Ta-ra, mate.